Thank you very much, Chairman Lara and Ranking Member Matsui, for having this very, very important hearing. For decades, satellites have been used for GPS communications and remote sensing. In 2022, the GAO found that there are almost 5,500 active satellites in orbit, and one estimate predicts that they may launch an additional 58,000 satellites by 2030. Satellite technologies provide more opportunities to advance critical research in health, agriculture, energy, and more. Mr. Piñeras, in your testimony, you mentioned the work that Planet does to capture daily images of Earth to show how Planet is changing and to help us make better decisions. In California, we're experiencing more extreme weather, hotter temperatures, longer and more severe drought, worsening wildfires, and dangerous flash flooding. We're not just seeing this in California, but we're seeing this all over the country and all over the world. How does Planet satellite imagery reveal drought indicators and aid in drought response across the world?
Thank you for the question. Measuring the impact of drought is critical for evaluating its severity and monitoring its change and identifying vulnerable areas. Planet's data allows users to record, process, and analyze water resources and land cover changes on the ground over time at a high spatial and temporal resolution. Planet's analytics products called planetary variables include a soil moisture content variable which can measure the volume of water contained in soil at a 5-centimeter depth. And these products pair Planet's daily data with other public data sets to provide actionable insights. And I would just add too that in response to questions regarding other types of extreme weather, hurricanes, and disaster response, Planet's data can also provide kind of critical situational awareness in those at those times for building damage assessment and also for evacuation paths.
And how, can you elaborate on how access to sufficient wireless spectrum is critical to the work and data that you provide?
Yes, thank you for the question. We rely on wireless spectrum in order to communicate with our satellites, to command the satellites, and critically to download the more than 30 terabytes of data that we downlink every day. So wireless spectrum is critical for our operations, for the work that we do, and to provide data to our customers. We're also really interested in new types of spectrum technologies, for instance, inter-satellite links that can connect satellites in space to speak to each other. One of the challenges in the Earth observation sector is we operate a little bit differently than other satellite operators. We only communicate when we're within view of a ground station, so it limits our downlinking opportunities by how many ground stations we have. So inter-satellite links can provide both better reactivity in terms of sending commands to the satellite about where to image, and also better downlinking capabilities to get images faster to customers, particularly in disaster situations.
Thank you. I'm just amazed at the projection of numbers from 5,500 satellites today to possibly an additional 58,000 or more in the very near future. Are we going to be sending up bumper cars instead of satellites, or a combination thereof? How fast are these satellites moving, and does congestion concern anybody?
Yes, Congressman, I addressed in my opening statement this exact issue. So I think it's the health of the orbits, and particularly the LEO orbit, that could limit the ability for our innovative new products to be launched. So it's going to be a crowded environment. So part of the licensing process needs to be an understanding of where these new satellites are being deployed, how they're managed, how we can understand where they are, our operators communicating with each other. In the GEO orbit, it's a very, I would say, collegial orbit. All the operators talk with each other. When something happens, we help each other out. So it's, there's a lot of information sharing. The LEO orbit, as you mentioned, is going to become very crowded. So what I refer to as the bucket of space sustainability issues. So tracking, disclosure, transparency, maneuverability of can you move your satellites around, and orbital debris, managing orbital debris, all part of the space sustainability bucket that's going to be critical for the future of the industry.
Yes, please.
The inclusion of technologies like standard fixtures on board satellites are incredibly important, as well as in-orbit servicing. OneWeb back in 2015 was even, or 15 was even working on creating some of these devices.
But people can launch satellites anywhere on Earth. They bring the capability, they get the permission, from some of these lands. is the United States the standard bearer, or who's the standard bearer today, and who should be the standard bearer going forward?
I think the United States is definitely a leader in these technologies with NASA and FCC as well as private sector.
And I would also just note that the U.S. has a huge market. It's a huge addressable commercial market. So people who want to do business here need.
Thank you very much. The gentleman's time has expired, and